Hi, it's Carrie. I just wanted to do a really quick look at systematic review search methods today. I like to look at them, and we use the Prisma search extension to look at how the methods are reported. This came out in 2021, and actually earlier than that, but it should be what people are using when they're reporting their systematic review and meta-analysis searches or some sort of standard. This standard makes your search methods very reproducible. It's a 16-item checklist that details how you should report your systematic review search methods. And as I always say, I'm not commenting on the quality of the article, but rather the quality of the methods and maybe the search. So I just looked for systematic SB, which is subset in PubMed, sorted by most recent. And I looked at the first two. I don't have access just yet, so let's go with one that looks like I'm going to have access through PMC, which is PubMed Central. This one's modifiable risk factors for diphtheria, a systematic review and meta-analysis in the journal Global Epidemiology. Just seeing if there's a librarian on the team. Doesn't look like it. Methods, they conducted it in accordance with Prisma, which is reporting items. Remember that nothing about the Prisma statement itself really talks about conducting, doesn't offer methodological guidance. So you can read more about Prisma here, but conducting is sort of a slippery word to use when you're talking about Prisma. Electronic databases and gray literature were searched from inception until January 2023. So they don't tell us too much here about the search methods, so let's look at the full text. This is an Elsevier journal, not that that says anything really about the quality of the article. Let's scroll down past the introduction to the methods. Again, they state that it was conducted with Prisma, which I would say is not a great way to describe Prisma, which is reporting items. And they registered the protocol with Prospero. That's good. Always encouraged to register the protocol before completing the review. A literature search was conducted using Embase, Medline, PubMed, and Web of Science. I think I've said it for literally every video I've done so far. Web of Science is a platform for lots of different segments, and so it depends on your institutional subscriptions what you have access to. So that's really not sufficient reporting. Maybe we'll find an appendix. It looks like we will. They identified gray literature, looking at some gray-lit sources, and searched from database inception until January 2023. Would love to see a day, an actual day. No restrictions were applied. That's great. And native speakers translated studies in non-English languages. That's great. So they considered all languages, which is important. Otherwise, we sometimes see an English language bias. The strategy combined medical subject headings, which is only applicable here to Medline and PubMed, really. Free text terms and keywords related to diphtheria and risk factors. It was developed for Medline and adapted for Embase, PubMed, and the Web of Science. And only the term diphtheria was used for the other databases. Oh, they might mean for the gray-lit, and in my humble opinion, that would be okay. Sometimes these gray-lit sources don't allow for very complex searching, so a broad search with diphtheria would be really reasonable. That's not a link, so let's see if we can get to this appendix. Oh, let's look at the Prisma flow diagram while we have it. Okay, this is actually great to see that we see results from each database here. Medline's a major component of PubMed, so they probably searched it on a different platform and then searched PubMed too, so they got more results in PubMed because PubMed contains PubMed Central, the NCBI bookshelf, some limited preprints, and even some additional literature. So you would expect to see that difference. It's not necessary really to search PubMed and Medline, but if you want to, there's nothing wrong with it, and they were transparent in the way that they reported it. They also reported how many they found with Graylit, and I love to see it. That's excellent. So I scrolled down here to the bottom where we have a digital appendix. So here they are checking off the Prisma checklist. That's nice. If you do say you used Prisma to do anything, it's nice to see that the authors understood what Prisma was and gave us the page, it looks like, where they reported it. So that's a round of applause. I'm excited to see that here. And then they've given us the Embase and Medline strategies. They should really be giving us all the strategies. They did. Okay. All right. I'll shut up for a minute. This looks like Ovid syntax, and right now I'm only seeing, when we see EXP and the / that implies that it's a subject heading. However, Embase and Medline don't have the same subject heading structure, so that would be a little confusing to me. They don't have the same control vocabulary. So they probably gave one or the other, but this can't be both. And if it is both, then it's a mistake. Anyway, so lines 1 through 14 are subject headings. I'm guessing for Medline. Then they've given us keywords with truncation and the title and abstract. It's quite a long strategy. Nice that they included a variation on the spelling of etiology. So they did lines 1 through 45 and then diphtheria. That's really interesting. I don't really rerun these. I just don't have the time. But it's kind of an interesting search. What we really should see then is that this search is reflected below. Like that the next search looks just like this one. And can't really do this. I mean, you can, but it's not doing what you think it is. Just looking, I'm not seeing, at least I don't think I'm seeing all of these terms represented here. So, I'll just say systematic searching requires your searches to be systematic in the sense that this search, what you used in Medline and Embase terms, are the same terms that you're going to use in other databases, PubMed and Web of Science. And PubMed does use Mesh, which they didn't include here, and Web of Science would probably need some syntax applied. I don't think you can do all this in a basic search. You'd need to use advanced search because I think there's a character limit. Correct me if I'm wrong. So they get a big thumbs up for me for the way that they reported the search, the fact that they included the searches in the appendix, that they left it open without limits for language or date, and the search looks pretty good. But and the Prisma checklist here being filled out, which tells me they understood what Prisma was and how to use it, but I'm not seeing that the searches are equivalent to each other. And that's getting into some really complex search territory. So overall, I'm giving them a thumbs up for the good work and the good effort. Let's go to the next one, which also looks like it's going to be... Actually, that's in the same journal. Let me give them a break. Let's look here. Updated. It's an updated systematic review and meta-analysis of extended adjuvant temozolomide in patients with newly diagnosed glioblastoma. July 2023. Neuro-oncology advances, maybe. Do we see any librarians? We do not, potentially. And they've given us again what I always like to point out, a structured abstract. It says they conducted following Cochrane methodology. which is excellent, always. Primary outcome, blah, blah. Let's look at the full text. We're not always seeing everything we want to see in methods of the abstract. So, there's supplementary materials. Already I'm very excited that hopefully one of them is a search. Let me make this a little bit smaller, just to get down to the methods. They carried it out in accordance with Cochrane methodology for systematic reviews of interventional studies and reported, oh my gosh, I'm falling over in my chair. This is amazing. So they actually understood the difference between Cochrane methods and Prisma reporting, and they made the distinction and they described it so well. Thank you, authors, for this. Literature search strategy. A systematic search of medical literature was performed electronically without language, year, or publication status restrictions using appropriate keywords. Okay, so they're describing the keywords to us. I'm really hoping we're going to see this in the appendix, because this right here, not reproducible, no matter how many keywords they list. It doesn't tell us what they actually did. Glioblastoma, GBM, glioma, high-grade glioma, HGG, temozolomide, TMZ, chemotherapy, randomized. Okay, so if they're going to use limit to RCTs, great idea if they could use the Cochrane highly sensitive search strategy for, and I'll look it up, for the identification of randomized controlled trials, which it looks like they did want. Actually, this is the old version, so let me show you how to go to the Cochrane handbook. It's in chapter 4 in the technical supplement of the most current version of the handbook. Wow, I'm thrilled today to just have picked 2 and have them both check a lot of boxes for me. So we need to go to chapter 4, searching and selecting studies. And then down here on the left, if we keep scrolling, to the end of chapter 4, there's a technical supplement. And in the technical supplement, which is, I think, only available in PDF, then I just do Control F to find, and I do highly sensitive search strategy, and go through it until I find the actual strategy itself. Section 3.6.1 of the Chapter 4 Technical Supplement talks about these strategies, which have been validated, by the way, which is why they're so great. And if we scroll down, here they are. So this is the one for identifying randomized trials in Medline, sensitivity, maximizing version, written for PubMed. If, however, you were doing Medline, I believe there's a Medline version. And also, I mean, if you are a searcher who knows how to search, then you can translate it into Medline. So I won't spend a lot of time on this, but yeah, if you are limiting your review to RCTs, then this is the filter you should use. One of these filters, sensitivity and precision maximizing or sensitivity maximizing. You should pick one of these. Anyway, let's go back to this article. Cochrane, they searched Cochrane Central and DARE, which I don't think is being maintained anymore. The CRD databases are no longer included in the Cochrane library since 2018. CRD is maintaining versions of DARE. Accessed here. Okay, so it's possible they searched DARE. I was familiar with DARE on the Cochrane platform, but DARE now is through here, I think. Anyway, if anybody wants to correct me, you are welcome to do so. And they hand searched cross-references and did conference proceedings. So they didn't tell us how they searched or which databases they used, but we might see it in supplementary file 1. I shouldn't have to search quite so much for a search. It's the Prisma statement, which is great. And these are the included studies. Oh, I'm so bummed. So, as far as I can tell, there's really no more information about the search than what we're seeing here. So, in the abstract, they don't tell us which databases they searched. In the methods, they make the distinction between Cochrane and Prisma. And they kind of mention Cochrane, Central, and Dare. But I don't see anything about the search, and this is not enough. I'm going to give it one more look just to see if maybe it's in a table down here. There's Prisma. So they found 288 records in total, 6 through additional searching. Yeah, I'm pretty bummed. There was a lot of hope, but I'm just not seeing a search. I mean, the rest of the review, just at a glance, looks like it has the elements that a review should have, but there's nothing about the search, which is everything. I mean, it's a systematic review, which is a review of the literature. It's not just this peripheral thing that we don't want to see. It's the main thing. Yeah, so we looked at 2 reviews today. Both did some things incredibly well, and both had a few missing pieces, but you know, that's better than it used to be, and I'm just glad to see what we saw today. So I'll leave it there. Thanks for watching, and I'll see you next time.